You are now listening to the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
My name is DJ Vince Adams. I absolutely appreciate what the Chicago Clubhouse crew is doing for the city of Chicago.
Hey, young world, what's good? It's your boy Bernard Varian, a.k.a. B-Twice.
What up? This is Rasheed Davis, former Chicago Bear wide receiver.
Hey, my name is Lemuel Stinson, a.k.a. Lemonhead, formerly of the Chicago Bears.
What's up? My name is C.J. Watson, former Bulls guard and bench bomb creator.
This is two-time six-man all-star baller Ricky Deuces Pierce.
What's up, people? This is Chicago radio legend Rick Party, the voice you hear everywhere.
My name is Pee-wee from the movie House Party.
This is Megan Martinez from the Good and Funny podcast.
Hey, this is Bubba Ball from the Shits podcast.
Hey, this is Nika from One Shot Wellness, Reverend from the ATL, dropping some drips on that Chi-Town Clubhouse podcast.
This is Sherry, and you're rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
You are now rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
You're now rocking with Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
And you're rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
And you're rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
Where they think they know everything.
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 But they don't know shit.
But they don't know shit.
But they don't know shit.
But they really don't know shit.
But they really don't know shit.
But they really don't know shit.
But honestly, they don't know shit.
Hey, I smell something. I smell podcast. The Chicago Clubhouse Podcast Show.
They really don't know shit.
You already know what time it is.
You see this Eddie Jackson jersey right here? Take this.
This dude literally just took my soul.
So I didn't like playing with Brett Favre at all.
You could have waited until the draft if you wanted to look at another quarterback. You didn't have to sign Andy Dalton, who is really nothing but a backup.
Evander Holyfield is 58 years old. What you want to fight a 58-year-old man?
But man, he wants to keep fighting.
Because he want to fight him. Okay, it's an exhibition.
But yeah, it's an exhibition because
this ain't Drago and Apollo Creed, man. Ain't nobody about to.
Man, Martin and Tommy Hearns was an exhibition. You saw what happened to Martin.
This could hurt.
Thanks, Hayden. Nothing but the best.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, bro, tough for real, man.
Yeah, man. He like tougher than some grown folks I know, man.
So that as a coach, your job is to give your players the best opportunity to have success.
Michael Jordan, when he came back at LeBron James' age, he was a straight up nothing.
That is blasphemy on his computer right now.
Because I'm gonna tell you something. Without Dennis Rodman, I couldn't see them winning like they did those second three championships. I can't see it.
I agree.
And now I'm the voice of SportsCenter on ESPN. Now on SportsCenter. Tonight, LeBron James. And whatever.
Do you guys really coach how exactly to tackle correctly? Because I see it all over the league now. People cannot tackle like they did whenever you guys played. But do you guys practice tackling at all?
What's happening? It is the podcast where we think we know what we're talking about, but we don't know shit. Don't know shit. But hey, welcome. I'm glad everybody's tuned in today. We got a good show lined up. We are going to talk to none other than former wide receiver Brandon Lloyd. He played for the Bears for like one season, but he was productive for a while till he got injured. Damn. He was Kyle Orton's favorite target. But, he got injured. And, in this game of football, man, if you get injured, you pretty much are done. Unless you're like miraculously cured and come back, but teams will chew you up and spit you out, man. It happens all the time. We can talk about so many names that's happened to, but we be here all night, man. But let me bring in my all-star team. First up, my man, the stat man who knows every single stat from the 80s and 90s basketball and football. My man Jay to the busy.
What up,
JP, what's good, man?
Man, chilling, another Tuesday, ready to get rocking and rolling. Can't wait to talk to B. Lloyd, man. One of the ones we wish had stuck around,
Yeah, man. He was really promising. He was really promising, man. I hated that, but they were trying to find that next Bernard Berrian.
Yep, but he was a complete receiver. So, and then we saw what he did that Pro Bowl year in Denver. So we knew what we had.
Right, and Denver knew it too. That's why Denver snatched his ass up.
Yep.
But our next piece of the All-Star team, foul mouth, foul mouth, not mouth. What up, foul mouth?
What's up, fellas? How y'all feeling today?
What I see?
All good, man.
That's
Can't
good,
wait
that's
to
good,
talk
that's
to
good.
Brandon.
Oh yeah. Know some of you Illini guys. I mean, I like Illini. Don't get me wrong. I like them. They ain't Michigan, but I like them. But
yeah, I knew there was a butt coming. I knew there was a butt.
Yeah, I mean, cool cat. He played with a couple guys that me and JB know, on a personal tip. So
yeah, he played with
see what he's going on, see what he has to say.
And I think he played with this dude I know, Jasper Strong. He went to Mount Carmel. Shout out to Carmel. He went to Mount Carmel. Yes.
Chris, did you go to Sox Fest or something, man? You kind of.
Nah, I'm just representing. I'm getting, spring training here. We out there. We doing.
Right, because they finally came to an agreement. They came to an agreement a couple days ago.
Yeah, thank God.
Right.
They can't go through what they went through once before. But they had to have Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa juiced up.
Man, nothing like that 94 season when it was supposed to be us versus the Montreal Expos in the World Series.
I know, right? I know. They took that from us.
Man, dirty dog.
So
dirty.
As we wait for Brandon to come, we can talk about the Bears situation right now. Well, I mean, okay, so we definitely need the line. We know we need a line. We need a lot of things. We have a lot of gaping holes. But when you think about the free agency pool, it's getting kind of thin, ain't it, JB?
Well, not only is it getting thin, it's about to dry up because two of the top talents that we were really, really looking for. So you still have a guy out there. Everybody knows Teron Armstead is still available. But I would pump my brakes on Teron Armstead because if you did your homework, he's now the 16, now 17 game per season guy. He doesn't play the whole season. He hasn't played the whole season in quite a few years. KB, what's happening? There's another guy that if you want to look up in free agency, right, I would say, hey, Mom, I would say there's another guy at that guard position, Trey Turner, of which we could look at. Trey Turner's pretty solid, but, are we going to offer that type of money? Oh, so the Dolphins just breaking news, Frank Marshall. Trey Turner is gone. Or is that Teron Armstead is gone?
I'm pretty sure it's Armstead. He went to go visit today.
I saw he went to go visit.
Yeah, that's probably who it is then.
Yeah, why not sign Miami? Beaches, women,
no state tax,
weather.
No state tax will do it for you.
Yep, that's what it is. Armstead just signed to the Dolphins.
Just signed. Wow. Well, see, that's why I got to keep my I got to keep myself on.
Right, I understand.
So that shallows the pool even further now because who's left? We saw Lyle Collins just got swooped. Like as soon as he got cut, he got swooped up. Like they weren't going to let him even. He wasn't even going to be.
He didn't even have time to breathe. He didn't even have time to breathe. They immediately picked him up.
And this is week 2, guys, fellas. This is week 2 of free agency. So now that number of those folks are going to start to dwindle. Some of those cats that thought they were getting 15, 14 million, they're going to start looking for that 8, 9 million, come back down to earth. Some of them just going to want a job, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting pretty thin out there. And that's the messed up part. I mean, like we said, we still got a little cap room, but I don't know exactly what it is that Poles really wants to do. I've been hearing rumors about that he's not high on Larry Borum. They don't really know if Jenkins is the guy at tackle, you know, things like that nature. So I don't know what it is exactly that he's doing, and it's not like he's tipping his hand to anything or has had anything letting us know anything for real. He's just signing guys right now.
Right.
So the wide receiver, as far as free agency is concerned, the wide receiver options. Oh my God. That first it was like this, now it's closed. It's just about closed. We don't even have Juju anymore.
But before and we talked about that. We knew what Juju's market was better than what the so-called experts said because we knew he needed a prove-it deal. But I wanted to kick the tires on this guy because right now it seems there's all hands on deck. There's a guy here today, Ryan Bates. Do we have a chance? I think it's smoke and mirrors.
I mean, if they're gonna overpay, I believe that.
We know that based on Ryan Poles' moves previously, he's not gonna overpay anybody. So I don't think that. But
remember, there's a trick that comes with that. If we overpay for this guy or attempt to, there's still a 5-day window that Buffalo can still say, well, nope, I don't want this. So he's a restricted free agent. So it's not a guarantee that we're going to get him.
No, not at all. I mean, tell you the truth, like we were talking about earlier, it may just be, like you said, smoke and mirrors for him to drive up his price with probably a team like Buffalo or somebody else to, just to get more money. With the receivers, I like Pringle. I was really big on St. Brown when he was at Notre Dame. I actually wanted the Bears to draft him when he was at Notre Dame. I mean, guy 6'5", run a 4.48.
That's a big target.
Yeah, it's a big target, And a lot of times, I know JB shaking his head, but sometimes guys don't really get a chance to show what they can do on certain teams. Sometimes they got to move around. Like our potential guy that's coming on today, Brandon Lloyd, had to move around to get a chance to finally get somewhere where he's stuck and he shine, and that's happened throughout the NFL. Guys, sometimes they don't show what they can do on the original team that draft them, and they go somewhere else and they really get a chance to shine. And that's what I'm really hoping with this guy. Because like I said, I was big on him when he was at Notre Dame. I mean, there's not too many receivers running around in the NFL that's 6'5", run a 4.48. And then, of course, he was playing with the diva, Aaron Rodgers.
Now, hold on.
The diva, Aaron Rodgers. And
that's not where I'm going. I'm not saying that you shouldn't call him a diva, but what I'm saying is throughout Equinemius's career so far, he's had multiple opportunities to get on the field because what do they always claim? They have Devontae Adams and nothing else. So if he can't get on the field with that cast of characters, Lazard, Vontae Scanling, and numerous others who came and left, that to me, that's more telling than not getting an opportunity. We know there's chances where people do. I won't even say Riley really for real, but Riley really, to me, he was a person that was kind of like, if we give him a chance, maybe he could produce. But he never really got on the field to produce. And there's got to be a reason why. But with this guy, he had 3 years with arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game.
That's where we're going to differ. Because
we can differ. This is friendly debate. Yeah. But I'm just saying that's a little bit more telling than somebody like a B. Lloyd, who was looked at in one role in San Francisco, but then went to another team and did everything that we expected him that he could do. Mm-hmm. This guy had multiple chances with the Green Bay Packers.
See, that's the thing. Like I said, when you talking about a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who is known for being a diva, ratting his receivers, talking about his receivers, it's a lot of pressure to play with a guy like that. A lot of pressure. And sometimes sometimes you're not up to that type of pressure. Sometimes he can sit up there. He can be the person that puts you in the doghouse. Because how many times have we seen Rodgers sit up there and he throws a bad ball and he goes blaming it on the damn receiver. Oh, you should have did this. Oh, you should have went this way.
Rodgers, Brady, Manning,
So I like to see, like I said, I like to see him in a new atmosphere to see what it is that he can really do. Because like I said, I was really high on him at Notre Dame. Playing with Rodgers can be a lot of pressure. And hell, even Valdez Scanning. I tell you the truth, I thought he was better than Valdez Scanning, but maybe that was a guy that Rodgers felt more comfortable with.
Let me ask you this. Feel free to chime in, T. If you drafted that man because he's 6'5", let's say he's not Calvin Johnson, but he was Calvin Johnson-esque, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Aaron Rodgers can't get you the ball, are we really doing Justin Fields a disservice trying to get him to get this guy the ball?
It's not that, though, because, one thing that we know about Aaron Rodgers, first of all, if Aaron Rodgers ain't played with you for a number of years, he's not going to trust you. He's just not.
I mean, that's not.
Aaron Rodgers had his guy.
Hell, he was always have Devontae Adams. One of the reasons why their ass kept losing.
But I'm saying he didn't always have Devontae Adams.
It was always somebody, though. It was always somebody. Randall Cobb. It was always somebody.
Okay, my point being, if this kid really had something going on, you don't think it's just a little telling that they would bring back an aging, injured Randall Cobb to actually play significant time before he got hurt again?
Nah, that's just that's Rodgers. Rodgers wanted him.
Then it's Vontaze Scanlon. Then it's Lazard. And now the fifth guy is St. Brown. Come on, y'all gotta take your red pill. Y'all got to take your red pill.
I don't think he really got an opportunity.
I think he did. But what I'm thinking is because of Luke Getsy, he's like, hey, this guy, he's not great. He can do some things, but he's cheap and he knows my system. That's what I think happened. With Byron Pringle, I think really that was a Patrick Mahomes move because Byron Pringle had a decent season, but he got a case of the drops. He dropped a lot of TDs.
We don't need any of those. Oh, look, God. We don't.
If I was a gambling man, I play fantasy football, but if I was a gambling man, he would have lost me a lot of bread.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Rodgers brought Cobb back because that's who he felt comfortable with. He wanted somebody besides Devontae Adams that he felt comfortable with. He really didn't trust Valdez Scanning. Actually, I remember because Valdez Scanning and what's his name? St. Brown, they both came out in the same draft. And he didn't like neither one of them. It just so happened, I think St. Brown may have got injured, which elevated Valdez Scanning.
Well, if you remember that one season when he first came in, St. Brown was supposed to be the starter on the outside.
Right.
Randall Cobb had already left and went to the Texans, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or it happened the very next year. But thank you, Cool Kennedy. Pringle has big drops in the playoffs. Big drops. But if you look at what they're doing right now, and the reason I say does this bring a disservice to Justin is because now we're hoping as Bears fans, at the minimum, he's Alshon Jeffrey, right? At the minimum, 6'5", 50-50 ball, jump ball guy. At the minimum, he's Alshon Jeffrey, who was a Pro Bowler for us, correct? But at the worst, what's he going to be? Kevin White?
Oh, God, no. Oh, God, no.
Oh, so you got the worst. You got the worst of the good, and you got the worst of the worst. And I'm just thinking, I don't see this kid coming out being Devontae Adams and Calvin Johnson. I think he's just a placeholder.
He ain't going. He's definitely.
Nobody's saying that. Nobody I'm not expecting him to come out and make no Pro Bowl.
Well, that's why we're not excited about the pick, Chris. That's what I'm trying to say.
Solid. He'll be a solid guy for us and a big target.
He's not used to playing, so I don't know how solid he'll be.
I mean, that's the thing. He can't be no worse than your boy that you were so high on that actually got paid.
Who?
What's his name? Zay. What's his name?
Oh no, Zay
Jones.
But Zay Jones has actually proven that he can play.
Yeah.
He actually gets on the field.
But that's what I'm saying. But he's actually got on the field. That's the thing. You don't really know what they're gonna do until they actually get a chance to get on the field.
And that's why I said I agree in some senses. There's people that don't get the opportunity to get on the field. Then they go to another team and they blossom. But like I said, with this guy, knowing that they were looking, thanks, Frank. That was a shot. But when you're looking for something for Justin, because right now, all they did was get a number 2 and a number 3. Because Darnell Mooney is still the number 1 currently constructed.
Yeah. That's why I sit up there and said that they're gonna have to draft a wide receiver with that second pick. One of those second round picks, they're gonna have to get a wide receiver. They're gonna have to. I know you weren't on board with that, but I told you they're gonna have to. Because one thing that we've seen so far, Ryan Poles is not going to sit up there and, like you said, overspend for a player. He's not gonna do that.
Not gonna do it.
Not at all.
I like his. I always make this joke with my mom, right? When they say, somebody's a miser or they have deep pockets and short arms. So I always say, well, I know I got money because I just spent my lunch money that she gave me from the 6th grade like 2 days ago. So I keep money. So that's what I'm looking at Poles like. He's keeping money. But right now, keeping money isn't doing us any good for this year. Next year's salary cap is going to be totally different. Why not go ahead and get an impactful player that we can keep for the next 2, 3, maybe even 4 years now?
That's because we don't have too much money right now.
But we have enough to get one of those guys. If you want to get somebody in the draft, though, remember, you said you want to get somebody in the draft. So if you're not going to get that guy in free agency, the Jujus, the Zay Jones, they're all gone pretty much. So now we're not going to get it in receivers. We're not going to get it linebackers. We're not going to get it safeties. Where are we going to get it?
I don't know.
Crickets.
Nah. You said, I'm sorry. Frank threw me off with his comment. He said the Bulls were down by 28, now it's back to single digits. Yeah. He threw me off. I'm sitting over there. I'm hearing you, but I'm looking at that, and I got the game right here going on. I'm like, damn.
No, that's fine. It's just telling because my point is, at some point, he gonna have to spend some money. This year.
He is gonna have to spend some money.
Year. Thank you. I'm glad you agree.
Yeah,
because right now, all the guys with a name that actually can produce, they leave it.
Yeah, but the thing is this: you don't, like I stood up there and said, we all were talking about Christian Kirk and his 18 million or 21 million, whatever it was that the guy got.
No, we're talking about Christian. I never wanted Christian Kirk.
No. I didn't want him either. But I'm just saying that's a prime example of someone getting paid a shitload of money that really ain't even worth it. That's called overpaying. That was extremely overpaid.
I agree. But let's look at the flip side. I told you we could get Juju for 10. So Juju went to the Chiefs. We get Byron Pringle.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though. Even though I tell you like this, put yourself in Juju's shoes.
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead and go with KC
Kansas City, Chicago.
But that goes to where I told you before. A lot of marquee free agents don't want to come here because they don't trust management. Ownership. They don't trust ownership.
I don't think a lot of marquee free agents want to come here right now, especially if they want to win, because right now it looks like that we're going to rebuild. Yeah. And my only thing about this whole rebuild thing was this, that we know we got Justin Fields, not including this year, for extra, maybe 3 at the most, 3 years. That's when his 5 years is up.
Right, because you can exercise that 5th year option.
So we talking about doing this rebuild.
You really only have a 2-year window.
Yeah, for real. That's about it. And that ain't looking too hot, especially when you on a full rebuild, as it seems like Ryan Pace is doing. And if Justin turns out to be the quarterback that we all praying and hoping that he is, then we're gonna sit up there and have some major problems because that quarterback market and that money is doing nothing but going up.
So now, when you set a market, that doesn't mean that you have to have that same player at that market. Remember, these aren't top tier guys that we're talking about like that's left. So right now, with some of the guys that are left, let's say I'm just throwing out an arbitrary number. If there were 5 legitimately, go on and give them 6.5, 7 just to make sure they come here and get that extra year on the deal. Turn that 2-year deal into a 3-year deal while the rebuild is going on, so we can see the progress. You see what I'm saying? If the process is such, whereas we're gonna get tier 2s and 3s right now, what does that say to the average player that's like, well, they're not putting nothing around that guy. I'm not going.
Hey guys, can I break in real quick?
Absolutely.
We have our special guest who has just arrived, and I am super excited, as I know y'all are, and the viewers. We got the Pro Bowler, the journeyman who's been everywhere because he had something that everybody saw. Everybody saw. He was in the league for years, so shit, he was cold. And like you said, we wish we could have seen more of him in Chicago, but them damn injuries, man, and damn politics. But anyway, enough for me. I'm running my mouth. Let's bring in Mr. B. Lloyd.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
What's going on, brother?
Nothing much. What's going on over there?
Man, just happy to see you, brother. How's it been? Tell us something. What's good?
Been well. I've been well. Yeah, happy to see you too. Happy to be back in the Chicago vibe. So thanks for having me on. I'm living out here in Denver, raising my 2 boys. I have 2 high school boys. I have a freshman and a sophomore in high school.
Nice.
And I've returned back to school to complete my MBA at the University of Denver.
All right now.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. And I'm serving in nonprofit currently with a close friend of mine's organization called CareerWise Colorado. So we're placing high school students in apprenticeships in white collar, high wage, high demand jobs. So we're placing students in IT, business operations, advanced manufacturing, financial services, education, healthcare. Wow. And so it's 5 years into the program, and it's an adaptation to the Swiss dual education model. So that's the earn while you learn.
Nice.
So we're taking that lens. Yeah. So we're taking that lens of apprenticeship only being for trade skills, and we're applying that to regular office jobs. And so part of the work is training businesses and encouraging businesses and letting them know that they can do this. Then there's a model in Switzerland that they can follow that has been going on for several decades, and then also helping the students understand that they can and they are capable of working in these white collar roles, and these organizations do want to train them. They do value them, and they do value their skill and are willing to invest in them.
Man, I take my hat off to you, bro.
That's taking the financial literacy mode
I'm talking about
to the 10th power. I love it.
That's great, man.
And we talk about sometimes players get stuck after they retire from football. We're not talking about it right now. Brandon is not stuck.
So let me ask you this, B, before we get into football. With this program, is this something that's like curriculum based through certain high schools, or is it available for all entities?
It's available for all schools. How we are operating in Colorado. This is the headquarters in Colorado.
Okay,
but we have spun off 5 other cities. So there's a New York that came online around the same time Colorado did. We have a 501c3 in DC, We have a rural component, so we are operating in Elkhart, Indiana. We're trying to make our way into Indianapolis, but right now we're targeting the students in need. So we are looking at Title I schools. We're looking at schools with high free and reduced lunch. We're trying to scoop up the equity component. We are specifically targeting underserved populations, students of color, and we are making an equity play when it comes to workforce development.
Chicago Public Schools needs you.
That's right.
ASAP.
Man, so let's get into some football. You started off well. We're going to talk about you starting off at U of I.
Okay.
You started off at U of I. Okay.
What made you make U of I your first choice?
Well, the broadcast journalism program.
Oh, okay.
So, I grew up, a ham, in front of the camera. I love talking. I was doing the student run journalism, man on the street, the interviews in middle school. I was in choir. I loved to entertain. And, at the family reunions, I was a kid that get in front of the camcorder and I'll tell you all about Martin Luther King. And I could go on and on and on as a kid. My family members still joke with me about it. So once my athletic skills, once I realized that I could make something of my athletic skills, I was like, all right, if I get good enough at sports, then I can go to any college I want to go to. And so my plan was, when I was speaking to my oldest sister, she was like, you know what, this college, this is a use situation. They're going to use you. They're going to make millions of dollars off of you. And you need to, in return, use them so you get a degree that holds some weight in the world. So I was like, all right, I'll select from schools that only have broadcast journalism programs. Okay. And I said, hey, they found Jerry Rice in, Mississippi Valley A&M. If I'm good enough, they'll find me. But I'm going to school for school first, and football is just a vehicle to get me into school. So that's why I chose the University of Illinois. They were number 3 in the nation in broadcast journalism in 1999 when I was coming out of high school. Ron Turner. There was another component to that. It was the recruiting method. They recruited me so it was the full court press since I was a sophomore in high school. They saw me at a 7-on-7 camp, Blue Springs High School. We went up there and we won it. And, and I was being flashy. I was a cornerback. And so, I patterned my style after Deion Sanders. And so, I had the wristbands, I had the shoe spat, I was high stepping. I was like really flamboyant. Right. And so everywhere we traveled to, I really caught the eye of the players initially. Like the players would bring golf carts around and hang out around the games that I was at because I was putting on such a show, and which was my point. And it caught Ron Turner's eye, and he offered me a scholarship going into my junior year of high school. And so, they recruited me so cleanly. Greg McMahon, the special teams coach, would come down and watch my track practices and then just wave for me from the top.
Oh, you did track too?
Oh, yeah. He'd wave for me from the top of the bleachers and say goodbye. Man. He didn't violate any rules or anything. So it was just the respect that they showed. The other component was there was a race component because I was visiting Big 12 schools also, being from Kansas City, Missouri. So I was going to Kansas State, MU, and Oklahoma, and at all those 3 other visits, there was in college when they do the visits, it's segregated, so they'll bring in the black players and they'll put them with the black student athletes, and then the white players from high school will go with the white student athletes on the football team, right?
Really?
Right.
They do that at a lot of schools.
I went to Morehouse. I don't know nothing about that. We just had black.
I went to Alabama State. So,
Lloyd, was that Coach Snyder at the time?
Yeah, Snyder.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was Stoops over at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I heard Snyder got in a little bit of trouble for that.
Well, when I look back on it, it was safe. You know, it's
Right.
it's you know, you don't want to have any issues, but you know, going a little deeper into that, you know, at every one of these visits, they were like, you know, we don't mess with them white, you know, racial slurs, expletives, you know, insert expletives. We don't do that here. And when I was being recruited by Illinois, the athletic director was like, you know, the athletic director from the University of Illinois and the head football coach called me. They wanted to talk to your elementary school principal. They wanted to talk to a few of your teachers. Obviously, they talked to us and the coaching staff and the coaches. And I was like, damn, they really are investing a lot of research into me. And I said, if these other schools knew anything about me, then they would know that I don't have a problem with white people. I never had a problem with white people. And so there wouldn't be, you know, these type of issues. They would have put me with the players who don't talk like this about anybody, black or white. Mm-hmm. And when I went to my visit in Illinois, it was like fair game. You know, we pre-gamed with the offensive linemen who were, you know, predominantly white. One of the recruits who hit it off with my parents, he was from Springfield, Illinois. You know, I got to kick it with him. You know, we went to the, you know, Illinois had the largest fraternity Greek system in the nation when I got to Illinois. Okay. So, I mean, we went to the black fraternities. You know, we went to the white fraternities. We had such a good time. And I was like, now this is the college experience that I want to have, you know, outside of football. So that was the other component why I picked Illinois.
And see, that's crazy because a lot of people, coaches, scouts, what have you, they assume that a player's selling point is really segregation. And that actually is not it, because there's so many people that when you get to that college campus, I know me included, when I got to school, it was like, oh man, the whites and the blacks playing together, everybody being cool. And it was like normal, you know, where other schools, it's like, we don't hang with them or we don't associate with them until we meet on the football field. Or, you know, basketball is a little different because it's less, but other sports. So how did that really make you feel, especially coming from Kansas City, Missouri?
Yeah, I know. You know, Kansas City, Missouri is technically below the Mason-Dixon line.
There you go.
You know, my parents grew up with segregated water fountains. So I always looked at my parents when I was little, because they moved us out to Blue Springs by the time I was going to elementary school. Mm. So I was going to blue ribbon schools. I was around mostly white people when I entered grade school, but my parents continued to teach in the inner city.
Gotcha.
Right, and all my family was in the inner city. So on the weekends, I didn't hang out with the students who I went to school with. I hung out with my family members who were in the inner city. And my dad took me on my days off from school, he took me to school with him in the inner city. So, yeah. So, it's, the balance, but then it was also, I feel what was so important was, you know, I understood the patriarchy, the hierarchy and white supremacy. And I knew how to navigate it. I knew how to communicate. I knew how to communicate with them. I knew how to get what I wanted. I knew how to do what I was told. And I had this balance of still being authentic and genuine in me and still holding my culture and being black. I could still be that and be in these environments. And I think that was probably the most precious gift my parents gave to me.
So you knew how to play the game.
Right. You know, and it wasn't, you know, and I still pushed the envelope, you know, and I always did because I still wanted to be me. And I still valued my blackness and my talent and my ability. I still had a lot of confidence in myself. And so, you know, even when I got to the league, I was still, you know, pushing people's buttons and pushing the envelope with that because I had confidence in myself.
Yeah. That's what's up.
So, you go ahead, Chris.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, all right. Okay, so now we enter.
You know, maybe I'll finish that story about Illinois.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's why the team was so cohesive when we were there because of that early observation that I made. There was never any divisions on that football team, and what Ron Turner did was, you know, he came up with this slogan, you know, why not Illinois? and it was like, why not us? When I got on campus in 1999, we were pretty brash. We didn't care. We went into Michigan and beat Michigan. We went to the Horseshoe, O State, beat O State. I stand up in the student section in the away games after the game. It's like, we brought a swagger. That class of 1999 really brought a swagger to Illinois. And I feel like it turned the program to where we started thinking, like, why not us? We beat these schools. Why can't we just continue on? Why shouldn't we be in the BCS? And combined with the discipline, because that's what was important with Ron Turner, is he took a bunch of 2-star, 3-star recruits, instilled discipline in us, also allowed us the freedom to have confidence. And then that's what translated into those successful years in Champaign and what ultimately resulted in the Big Ten championship in 2001. And for me, that was just like the first time I've been on a team where it was like the players, the other guys were holding up their end of it, and I was doing my thing. And even when I wasn't on, the other players could still be on. When we're talking about the receiving corps, Walter Young, Greg Lewis, Aaron Moorhead, it was just like we had a receiving corps, and the ball was spread around. We had fun. We challenged each other in the receiver room. We challenged each other intellectually. What you gonna do? Get this coverage. What you gonna do if they do this? What you gonna do if they do that? It was just like hot seat, nonstop competition, and it really elevated our game. And I feel like, obviously we had a good run game, but I feel like that passing component to it at the University of Illinois in my time there was because of our coach Jackson, God rest his soul, allowing us to compete in the way that we were on an intellectual level, and then physically getting out on the field and competing, and we really held up that offense.
So I want to jog your memory a little bit and give you a little nostalgia. So in high school, I actually played against Greg Lewis, right? Ended up having a pretty decent NFL career. Walter Young went to the same high school as I did. He used to be a quarterback. He was a quarterback when he first got down there. Left hand, had a cannon before Kirk Kittner and them got there. How did that dynamic mesh? Because now you got some great dynamics going on there. So did it just feel like it just clicked? Because obviously they're like 2 years older than you. But
let me, I'm the last of 7. I was doted over as a kid. We grew up in a loving family. It was just, intellectual family. And I grew up in the suburbs, and so when I got to Illinois, that was the first time I was like, oh, these Chicago dudes, they think the world revolves around Chicago. And I was like, you know what? I like this. I like this attitude. And so it really, being around the Chicago cats just really, it put a chip on my shoulder where it's like, you know what? These other dudes, they whack. Everybody's lame. These dudes are busters. And it just it gave me this confidence and this another level of confidence about myself. And that was being around Walter and being around Greg. They talk
good old Walt, boy. That's my buddy.
They talk trash to everybody. Like no one was safe. and it was just like in that environment just really it grew me up. And that's why I have so much I revere those individuals so much and the team so much, even the older cats, the Dana Howard. Obviously I'm talking about the St. Louis cats now, but the St. Louis cats was just, Dana Howard and the older cats and Robert Holcomb were still floating around. And so they were still just around and they were hands-on. Even, when I was, I got my first internship at Fox Sports Net St. Louis. Okay. Dana Howard was the one he was like hosting me. He set me up, he set the school up with how to house me and a hotel and transportation. It was just like hands-on. So it was just the older cats and the confidence of the Chicago cats and the confidence of the St. Louis cats. It grew me up. I just love my time at Illinois.
Did you and Simeon Rice cross over?
No. You know,
was
Simeon
gone
was
right
so
when you
big
got there,
time.
right? Okay.
He was
Shout
so
out
big
to Mount
time.
Carmel.
I was thinking like 98-ish, right?
I thought he was gone in 97 or 96.
Yeah, Simeon was gone for.
No, he's class of 94.
He was the year before
94. Okay,
Right,
yeah.
94, yeah.
But he wasn't floating around. He wasn't floating around like Holcomb and Dana Howard were.
Yeah, Robert Holcomb took that rock though.
True.
Actually got drafted by the Rams, didn't he?
Holcomb got drafted by the Rams.
Yeah.
So I want to fast forward to 2008 when you came to the Bears.
Yep.
And they were trying to find, like I was telling JB earlier, they were trying to find the next Bernard Berry.
Right.
But I think they came up on they came up on gold because Kyle Orton, you were his favorite target.
Yeah.
You were his best target.
Yeah.
So talk a little about that.
Well, the Washington football team was trying to blackball me because I was getting into it with Joe Gibbs. So I left San Francisco.
Right.
They traded 2 draft picks and pulled me out of restricted free agency. So they had to give up 2 draft picks and they gave me a blockbuster contract.
Right.
So I get there and they switch out Brunell for Jason Campbell. They have Al Saunders there, who's taking all the credit for the greatest show on turf. He was just a receivers coach, and he was taking all the credit for what Mike Martz did. And so he was trying to, Frankenstein this offense together with incredible talent. Don't get me wrong. We had Santana Moss, Randall L., Chris Cooley.
Yeah.
We had some pass catchers. We had James Thrash. We had some pass catchers out there, and like some dogs, and myself, and we couldn't get the offense. We couldn't quite put it together. The offensive line couldn't figure out who to block and what to do. And being as flashy as I was, I started to take the brunt of it. And the organization wasn't standing up for me. And I was MFing Joe Gibbs about how he needs to, stand up for me and throw me the ball and let me prove myself and prove this contract. And that didn't go over well. So they were trying to blackball me out of the NFL. And I got a call from Ron Turner, who was offensive coordinator for the Bears. And he says, Brandon, he says, I'll tell you what I told Lovey. I can't vouch for what's been going on in Washington for the last 2 years. But what I can say is I've known him since he was 16 years old. And I know he's a good kid. I know he comes from a good family. And I think we should give him a chance. And so Lovey called me in and brought me into the office. And he's like, he's all in my pockets. He's like, how much was that contract worth? I'm like, how much you walk away with? I'm like, it's like $12 million. He's like, all right.
Come on, coach.
So he's like, so you're not here for the money, right? I was like, right. And he says, so I'm going to sign you to a 1-year deal minimum. And if there's anything remotely close to anything that happens in Washington, I'll cut you. Won't be any skin off my back. So I was like, all right,
can't cutthroat like that.
Oh yeah. So all right.
Damn, Lovey.
All right, I can do that. And so brought me into the, for the workout, did the workout, blew it up, made the team in training camp.
So that's crazy. So Joe Gibbs' regime made you out to be a troublemaker, of which throughout your whole career you squeaky clean.
Right.
All because you wanted the ball?
Oh yeah. And I talked back. I MF'd him. I wasn't taking it. I wasn't.
Keyshawn did it. Keyshawn got a whole book about it.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was. Don't have me come into an outcast in the media and don't stand up for me, because the whole organization was crap. and it was falling apart. And they was looking for scapegoats. They was like, "Hey, don't look at me. Look over here at him.
You,
yeah, you." But didn't y'all bring him on? Yeah, we brought him on, but that was a huge mistake, right? That was how they was playing it. And
that's crazy.
For me, I was like, nah. I was like, I know I got talent. I know I'm good. I know I can do
that in San Francisco. Like, come on.
And so, it was just, and that's the thing that we talk about. The players are talking about with the Good Old Boys Club and the white supremacy in the NFL. They'll cycle through these players like they're nothing. If these players let us, don't let us give them an excuse by getting in trouble off the field. Then it really gives them an excuse to usher you out the side door. And so for me, I kept my head about myself. Obviously, if I could do it over again, I'd say a few more things to MF.
Good.
Joe Gibbs in that organization.
Good.
And stick up for myself a lot more publicly. And I wouldn't do anything differently because that's how much I believed in myself. And that's how much I believed in my family and what I represented by being in the NFL and how hard I worked. And I was representing the University of Illinois. I was representing Kansas City, Missouri, and Blue Springs and my family. These organizations just
because
they don't care what these players are representing and what we're about.
Because I was going to say they weren't attacking your performance as a player. They were attacking your integrity and your character.
Well, they were attacking my performance as a player because I wasn't getting the ball.
You wasn't getting the ball, but because you claimed that you wanted the ball so much, now he's a problem.
Yeah, but it was both. It was like not only is he a problem, but he's a starting receiver and he's only got 27 catches.
Tell Jason Campbell to throw you the damn ball.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying publicly and privately. I was like, you can get me the ball. there's not an issue here. It's not my problem. And so, I stood up for that. So, but get into Chicago, Daryl Drake, and I'll mention the receiver coaches a lot on this, and he passed away. God rest his soul. Again, it was an opportunity. Kyle Orton and I both had the same sports agent, so there was some connection there.
Okay,
and then just being on the team. And having a fresh start. Lovey was very encouraging of me. And he was just like, just nods and points on the field. It was just kind of like, keep doing your thing. Like, he pulled me aside and said, I'm really proud of you. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. Keep it up. It's just really encouraging environment being around Lovey. And I thought that was just so empowering, just being around a Black coach and having that image of success in the NFL and Blackness as in that head coaching position. It was refreshing. Yeah, it was empowering. And then for him to be speaking words of encouragement into me, it was reminiscent of how my father and mother talked to me. Nice. And that's what I thought was just so powerful about that experience. I got to Chicago. I was like, damn, I can do this. I had been talking trash that I could do this. And I got here. I was like, all right, I can really do this. I really enjoyed playing with Marty Booker. Just having that veteran experience. It was similar to my first year when I started with the San Francisco 49ers, was my second year in the NFL. So when they let T.O. go, they brought in Curtis Conway.
Seaway.
And they brought in Seaway to mentor me. And so it was just like being around the veterans and the ins and outs of just on the field, and then just how they move off the field. It's in the confidence that they have and the success that they've had in the league. It was just it was very reminiscent of being around Seaway, and so I really enjoyed that. Obviously, it was nice being around Ron Turner again.
Obviously,
so a coach who actually believed in my talent. And then that's what was going on in Chicago, where it's, Ron Turner was like telling Kyle Orton, that guy can do it. He's got it. Wait till you see this. And, for those first, 5 or 6 games, it was really clicking.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how much pressure were you feeling? Because the Bears have won Not one. They went to the Super Bowl a couple of years before you came. So, like I said, they were looking for the next Bernard Berrian. And then, of course, Moose, they released him. So, fans and maybe even coaches were looking like, okay, well, we need to find somebody that can fill those shoes. How much pressure did you feel to fill those shoes?
I didn't feel any pressure really because, I wasn't a high profile free agent when I came to Chicago. So I wasn't in the media. I wasn't doing interviews. For me, it was like, I'm trying to get my career back on the track and get some consistency, prove to these individuals within the league that I'm not an outcast or I'm not a problem. And so, there wasn't that pressure there. I always felt that it was a running team anyway with Matt Forte.
It was. Early on, yes.
For the most part, yeah.
And so when I got to the team, it was like, all right, I'm trying to get my career on track. I know I can get open. I know this offense like the back of my hand. This ain't a problem for me. So I can go out here and get busy. And the other thing I was saying was it ain't even really about the offense anyway. This defense is supposed to be awesome with Tommy and Lance and Urlacher. So they're supposed to be carrying the thing. And then in reality, the special teams, Devin Hester's supposed to be scoring.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm like, there is zero pressure on me on this team. And I was like, I'm here to get open and
just in case
catch the ball and these other cats is going to carry this team. Carry me to the Super Bowl that I'm ready to be in. Put my talent on that stage. I'm just ready to get to the playoffs and put my talent on that stage. So I was hoping these other cats was going to carry the team.
It's amazing just to hear your story and to listen and open up a lot of our eyes and also people that's viewing this podcast about how that black ball
is
real. Like I know the person that we talk about the most is Kaepernick, and we know that it's going on in football, but also it makes me think about brothers like Mark Jackson that's been blackballed, and it's just like you hear about it, but you don't really think until you actually like us talking to someone that actually went through it. Because those guys, we don't get a chance to talk to, but when we listen to you and we hear you and you tell us, it's like you gotta kiss someone's ass just to make sure that you're gonna be able to keep a paycheck coming in.
And that don't even guarantee you.
Yeah.
And that's why I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I ain't doing it.
Okay, with no promise.
Fuck that. Fuck that. I'm not kissing anybody's ass.
Yeah. You'll leave out there like Monica Lewinsky with the nut on your shirt. I ain't doing it.
Right. Then they tell you get the fuck out.
Right.
I ain't doing it. And I stand for too much. The general manager, Vinny Serrato, with the Washington football team said to me, he said, "You'll never play in this league ever again." That's what he said to me as they cut me.
Wow. That's been
damn.
Yeah. So it's like, when you see players on the field, you just don't know all that has been going on, whether it be injuries or their family circumstances or where they come from or who they playing for or why they playing. And that's what I thought.
Favoritism.
Well, we just always get like the cookie cutter layout. He got cut because he didn't produce. Blah, blah, blah. Or he got cut because he always in trouble. Blah, blah.
Right.
No. They play a game too. You play a game on the field. They play a game off the field.
Yeah, and obviously they got more power because of the structure, but then they also
status alone.
But they also leverage the media too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
in order, and that's what I think is unfair, and that was what as another observation that I had, where like how's the media get away with saying all these things about these players and the organization doesn't stand up? How does Ben Roethlisberger wrecked himself on a motorcycle. That's conduct detrimental. And how come he doesn't get his contract terminated? But player gets in a altercation off the field can be in conduct detrimental. It's like
he did that twice,
right?
with young college girls,
right?
Did some stuff off the field,
So it's obviously it's right. It's the skin color, and so we have to navigate, and that's what we're talking about. With my upbringing, it was like I've seen this before. I've
already aware. Yep.
Right. And what it comes down to was just that confidence in myself, believing in my talent, believing in what I stand for. I had a constitution, a personal constitution. I had a sturdy moral compass, and I'm here to play football. And I have this unique talent to play football, and that's what I want to do. And so I just stayed focused on continuing to execute in football, and I got to Chicago, and it was nice because, behind the scenes, the statistics were really good. Coach Drake would talk to me on one-on-ones. He'd say to me, your big play percentage is the highest we've ever had in this, since we started keeping these statistics. So when he started talking to me about the analytics and what I was doing in practice, and then in game situations, it was positive. And so I felt confident about what I was doing in that organization, getting back on track, and that the people behind the scenes, the industry people, were speaking good about my name. It wasn't what was happening in Washington. The narrative was reversed, and I didn't have to go do a whole PR campaign. I just had to go to work and do my business, and that's what I'm the most proud of about my opportunity in Chicago, was to come to Chicago, and get my career back on track. And obviously I haven't even started talking about the city yet, because it was I never really got a chance to spend time in the city either.
That's a long drive from
Champaign.
Champaign.
Yeah. Exactly. We was much closer to St. Louis, so we spent more time in the Lou than we did in the side.
You was going home, baby.
And so, being in Chicago, I think for me that just personally was empowering, and being able to fill the city, seeing Jesse Jackson and Rosebud, being on the Magnificent Mile, and the friends that I actually collected from my time in Chicago. When I was in Chicago was a time where my hip hop single, "She All Mine," featuring Bobby Valentino, peaked at 47 on the Billboard chart. So I was able to, I was rolling around with Malik Youssef and Burundi, and from Kanye's camp, really brought me into the studio, and was like nurturing my music and my writing. And so
it was at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, it was just
Kanye, Barack Obama, John Rogers.
Thank you. Shannon Skip Sias. It was just like the hip hop community brought me in, and it was just it was one of my favorite stops in the National Football League, because I never really got to do Chicago properly, and then to come as a professional to be there, I know. It was beautiful.
So now I gotta be that guy, because now I'm gonna be the heartbreaker.
Yep.
You left.
I know.
So if you can divulge, it obviously it's business, never personal.
Yep.
But it was personal with Washington.
Yeah.
So now you proved you could play again, up to your status. Why Denver?
Yeah. So
they was going through a little quarterback controversy at that time.
Oh yeah.
You remember?
I remember I had one game. Excuse me. I had one game against Tampa Bay when I was with the Bears, and I was clowning out there on Rondé Barber. Oh, I was lightened up. Touchdown, like 170 yards, and I remember I was sitting on the sideline, and Kevin Jones, the running back, said to me, he said, see, this is the player we always knew who you were. This is the player we always knew. And it was kind of like, it's like the light bulb went off. It was like,
it went off,
right.
yeah.
Right. He was like, this is the Pro Bowl player we knew you were. And shortly after that, I tore my knee.
Right.
On a Sunday Night Football against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep, we remember that.
And so it was heartbreaking for me, to be in Chicago. It was like a second home, and then to not be able to see it out or be that component to help the team get to that next level.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking for a lot of us.
No, it was.
Hey, you were on your way, brother. When I tell you, we were so excited to see that Lloyd on the back.
We were excited, like, man.
I know. And I was really going after it. I was going super hard. I really wanted, and it was natural for me. It was just natural for me to be there off the field, and it was natural for me to be there on the field, in the locker room. They embraced my music. They embraced my personality. We had an NBA 2K league that we played. We was playing, Xbox after practice. I mean, that team was really close.
Yeah.
I did a hip hop showcase before a Ludacris concert in Chicago.
Nice.
And about 6 teammates came.
Wow.
I mean, it was just like
that's back when you had the dreads, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay.
I think I was starting cornrows again because I cut my hair off.
Yeah,
I had an existential crisis. I had an existential crisis when I left DC. I cut my hair off. And so I was just growing it back. So I was just getting the cornrows back. But it was, Lance Briggs and, like the players, Urlacher were really embracing me as one of the players on the team. And I really thought that was important, especially not being a high profile free agent, especially being a minimum wage player. Right. And I really enjoyed the opportunity. But when I tore my knee, the press really laid into me.
Chicago media?
Yeah, because Lovey didn't put me on IR. Lovey says to me, because that would have guaranteed my contract. So Lovey says to me, we're not gonna put you on IR. Come back when you're ready. You know how calm and chill he is. He just come back when you're ready.
Right.
And so I didn't go on IR, and then so that triggered the Chicago media to say he ain't tough enough to play. I had a torn PCL, which is the ligament in the back of my knee. Yeah. So my lower leg would go back further than normal range because the ligament was torn. Right. And so what I had to do was build up the top of my calf muscle and the lower part of my hamstring through pull workouts and weight training and physical therapy in order to get back on the field so my lower part of my leg wouldn't go back. I need to build up muscle where the ligament
explosion. You can't run a comeback. That's dead.
Or any cutting off my left leg, right?
Yeah.
And so the media was saying I'm not tough. I can't come back. I'm not willing to play through pain. These are signals that have things that have happened, red flags that have happened throughout his career. He's was always on the injury report in San Francisco. It was just so much. All the stuff started kind of coming up. All this negative press, and Lovey would keep saying to me, "You okay? Come back when you're ready. You okay?"
He had your back.
Yeah.
Right. And it was just keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing. It's like all the things you were doing, this is just a moment in time, right? And this negative press cycle is going to come and go. And it was tough to go through. It was tough for my family to go through. My wife at the time, it was tough. It was tough because the quarterback was doubting my ability, right? So things started coming up. Another challenge in my career started coming up that I needed to face, And so I pushed through that. I got through that rehab and I returned to the field and scored a touchdown in the game back. I think it came back against the Texans.
Because you was going almost 6 weeks. Was it 6 weeks?
Yeah, 6 or 7 weeks. And, with a torn knee. And so, for me, I wasn't doubting my toughness. But again, it was a moment where I was able to come back. And then personally, when I laid my head down at night, I was proud of myself. I was proud of what happened.
Yeah.
And the general manager for the Chicago Bears said to my sports agent, I doubt he'll ever play again. He says, how do you really think that went? In a very condescending tone. And so they did not want to negotiate a contract or bring me back. So at this point in my career, I thought I was finished. I've been blackballed. I came back, got hurt. And now this GM, they don't even want to talk a contract with me. So I can't even come back to Chicago if I wanted to.
Was that Angelo?
Angelo.
Jerry Angelo.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yep. And so I couldn't even come back. And so I was saying to myself, I was like, damn, it's really over. I was like, this is really over. So I called the University of Illinois. I started getting my transcripts ready because I left school early. So I had about 20 credits that I need to finish. Okay. So I was like, let me start getting my media career going. So I called the Big Ten Network. They're like, all right, we hear you. We hear you're ready. I'm going to finish school and then I'm going to come on board with the Big Ten Network. I had this really strange collection of friends in Chicago. So I was exercising when the season was over because I was still living in Lake Forest, kind of planning out what I'm gonna do next. So I was weight training with my dentist, who was he's a big Russian Jewish guy. He was an amateur triathlete, big old trunk, big old legs. I mean, so we were doing powerlifting. I was powerlifting with him Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I leave those powerlifting sessions and then I go play basketball with the hip hop community for cardio. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, I was rock climbing in one of my neighbor's houses in Lake Forest. He had converted the Ape Suite into a rock climbing maze.
Okay.
Wow.
So we were, rock climb, and they were restaurant owners. And so we would rock climb and eat charcuterie plates and drink expensive wine, right? And do these puzzles, right? So I was in this really strange shape.
You was like kind of like what do they call that when you do that like the Tough Mudder stuff, like you had rebuilt everything.
Yeah. Well, it's a strange shape. It's like you look at one of those Tough Mudder guys, and it's like that they're not swole, but they're strong as hell.
They're strong as ever.
They little heavy set. They can run a 7-minute mile. You know what I mean? They're in some good shape, sneaky shape. And so, man, this went all the way until June, where my wife was nagging me about, what am I doing with my life? My agent had told me, B, I think it's really over this time. That's what he said to me. I think it's really over this time. And so, I'm getting my transcripts, my personal life's falling apart. I have 2 kids and then I'm kind of escaping with these exercises in my friends group. And so I have this piece. And in June, Kyle Orton calls me from Denver. He says, yo, he goes, you in shape?
If you only knew.
I go, I think so. He's like, all right. He's like, I'm not liking what's going on out here with the receiver stuff. I'm going to bring you out. I'm going to have Josh McDaniels call you. So, all right. So, he said, Josh wanted me to call you. So Josh calls me and he's like, all right, we're going to bring you out for a workout to Denver. So I was like, cool, I'll be out there. So I got on a flight, landed in Denver, and lit it up. I was like in freakishly awesome shape. It was like I had recovered from the knee thing. It was like not even an issue. It was really awesome. Lit it up. And this was just supposed to be a workout. They helped me up and missed 2 flights because they wanted to start negotiating a contract. They couldn't send me right out. They're like, oh, will you just stay? Will you stay? And my agent's like, you're going back to Chicago. You're going back. We'll negotiate over the course of several weeks. You're not signing anything there now. So I was like, all right. So I went back to Chicago, agreed to terms to come to Denver. So that's how I got to Denver. Josh McDaniel said to me when I was on that workout, he was like, do you even remember me? I said, no. He goes, I ran your pro day at Illinois.
Oh.
He says, if you can play anything remotely like you were playing when I saw you in your pro day, you'll be all pro.
And Josh McDaniels was a pup back then.
And it happened.
That's
how I got to Denver.
That's what's up.
Wow, that is dope, man. What a great story.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about speaking to, you know what I'm saying, players like yourself, because there's no way on God's green earth we would have ever thought players go through things like that. You know, we always, like you said, you told us the breakdown about how the Chicago media was coming down, but we never knew that Lovey was a stand-up guy that made sure that you were going to get your money. So he said, don't worry about it. Let them talk all they want. We're going to make sure that you get your money. This is an outstanding story, just listening to you talk about your journey in the NFL.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
So, Brandon.
Yes.
Our slogan on this show is we think we know everything, but we really don't know shit. And that's for a reason. We don't know shit. We want you to tell it. We want our guests to tell the story. We're not going to say, oh, well, you know, he wasn't tough or he didn't do this. He couldn't do that. We don't know. We don't know. Like you were saying earlier, we don't know what was behind the scenes. We don't know what you were going through. We don't know what your family was doing. We didn't know your financial situation. We don't know none of that stuff. But the media doesn't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about any of that. They just give a fuck about what they see on that football field.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're not catching balls or you're not running down the field, you're not blocking. That's what they see. That's what they'll talk about. Oh, well, you know, he's not tough. Well, you know, he doesn't have the know-how. He can't run a route. He can't do shit. But we on this podcast, we don't know shit. So we want the guests to tell it. And you told it. You told it. Not that we had any doubts. We already saw what you could do.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, I want, before we segue, I want B. Lloyd to tell us one more story. Because everybody that doesn't know watching at home, we got a Pro Bowler on the screen right now. We have an NFL Pro Bowler on the screen right now. And damn it, give him his credit. Tell us about that year in Denver when you went crazy. 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns. Man, you was on it.
Yeah. So I got to Denver after that workout, made it through training camp. And, you know, there's one thing that's pretty much guaranteed in the NFL is players are going to get hurt.
True.
So I was the 5th receiver on that team. They brought me in again, free agent, 1 year minimum contract.
Okay, so I only remember 2, like Demaryius Thomas and
No. I know this is like this hidden year in the NFL.
The hidden year, okay.
This in Denver, like things got swept under the rug. It was Brandon Marshall's last year, and people don't talk about this guy and what he did for that organization. It was like 4,000-yard seasons back to back.
Right.
It was like incredible, right?
Oh, right, because he went to Miami, right?
After Denver, I think, you know, I forget where he went.
I think that he left for Miami because it was a money play.
Right. So yeah. So it was Brandon Marshall, It was Eddie Royal, who was a fan favorite.
Eddie Royal.
Yeah.
It was Brandon Stokely.
Oh.
And then there was Jabbar Gaffney.
Florida.
So those are the 4 receivers, and they brought me in as an insurance policy.
Gotcha.
Right. And so I get there and none of them get hurt. So I'm a 7th year player on the bench. I'm like itching to get out there and like get back in the NFL, and I was not playing. I was like, Josh was bringing me on the away game trips.
Right.
So the first game we had, I remember I had got dressed for the game, and then the receiver coach Adam Gase comes over to me. He goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "What do you mean what I'm doing?" He says, "You're not playing." I was like, "Oh, really?" So I'm like, "Why the fuck am I even here?" And so I went through the season running scout team. I was a scout team receiver that entire season. And don't get me wrong, me and Josh was going at it. I was telling him, I was like, cut me, release me, trade me, do something. I was like, I was in tears. I was so adamant about that. I wanted to be matched with Brandon Marshall. I thought that was the matchup. Like that was the receiving core. Like we would put pressure on teams. Personally, is that would be best for the organization. And Josh was saying to me, "You just got to be patient. You just got to wait. You just got to wait." I mean, this is week after week, week after week. He said to me, finally, it was probably like 8-9 weeks into the season, and he says, "Now, if I release you and you go off to another team and play awesome, I'll look like an idiot. So I'm keeping
True.
So I'm keeping you." He's like, "So you need to just suck it up." So I was like, all right. So it gets to the end point of the season. And
this is 2008.
This is 2008. And 3 of those players that I just talked to you about fake injuries because they don't want to hurt their odds for next season.
Because they became free agents.
So they fake injuries. And so I remember we were sitting in our receiver because our lockers were all next to each other. And I was saying to myself, I was like, you know what, y'all? I was like, that's unethical. That's unprofessional. And one of the players says, "Nigga, I'm doing you a favor. You should be thanking me."
What?
And so I said to him, "But the problem is that when I get on the field, I won't come off."
Right. You not getting back on. Right.
And so I got in, boom, like 70 yards, boom, boom, a couple games, those last 3 games. I was like getting some. I was getting some out there. And then we went to the off season and they traded Marshall.
Right.
Released Stokely. And I was a starting receiver. Got a new contract. I got a 3-year deal with the organization. And then that's what led up to the 2009 season. I was a starting wide receiver going into that season, and Kyle Orton was the quarterback. Josh
did
me.
They let Tebow go, right?
Say it again.
Was that the year they let Tebow go?
I'm sorry, 2009. That was 2010. So 2009, I'm sorry, I messed up my years. 2008, I was with Chicago. 2009 was the year I was on the bench. Right. And then 2010 is that Pro Bowl year that you're talking about. Right. And so that was what led up to that year. And then Josh McDaniels was like, you ready? You better get off. So going into that, it was neat because it was just like it was the point to where effort and opportunity meet. That's what I talked to the young people about. Effort and opportunity. Kept being persistent, kept giving maximum effort, 100% effort. And then finally the opportunity came. And what was unique about that 2010 season was I was remarkably healthy. I mean, I didn't have a back thing, a neck, nothing, a hammy, a knee, nothing. I was going into games where I would be like, I'm 100%. It was like, this is like a problem for the other team.
Right.
Everybody's hurt in the league. Everyone's got something. No one's
right. You a hammy, a toenail, something,
a shoulder thing, something. And I didn't have. I was going to I probably went into probably 10 of those 16 games. Wasn't nothing wrong with me.
Nice. Well, you sure proved that.
Yeah. So the plays Josh was calling, Orton was calling my number. He was throwing double coverage, triple coverage. See, these are the things that was happening earlier in my career. The quarterbacks didn't know what to do. They see the safety overhang and they'd be like, checking it down. These are things that's happened in San Francisco where the organization couldn't call a spade. I'm getting double teamed. That's why I wasn't getting the ball.
But we've seen you go and get those 50-50 balls at 6 foot. So it's not like it wasn't a part of your game.
Right. I know. And Kyle Orton was, he's a gunslinger. He's from Purdue. He came up under Drew Brees.
All they do is throw the ball in Purdue.
And he was a Heisman Trophy candidate at one point as well.
And Kyle Orton knew what you could do.
Hey,
he believed in you.
Man, Kyle Orton would be on the bench. He'd be like, man, I don't even feel like I'm playing hard enough if I don't throw 3, 4, 5 interceptions.
Oh, wow.
I ain't playing hard enough.
He said that?
I know. So it's like, bro, and this is a time where it was getting unheard of to see NFL teams throw the ball 50 times a game.
Right.
Josh McDaniels was throwing the ball 50 times a game. That was unheard of in 2010. And so, we're doing these big old play actions off of, and we don't even really have a run game. And play actions are working. We're doing these big, huge posts. I'm doing double and triple moves. I mean, he's really just allowing me to
play ball.
Yeah,
it was just like it was fun. It reminded me of being like in high school again. And then to be like on that stage and to like be able to have my talent on that stage, it was like what Kevin Jones said to me, this is who you are. This is who we always knew you could be.
And that conference at 22, that conference was still a dope conference. You didn't have any slough games.
No. And so that's why that 2010 season was so humbling for me. Because it was just like, finally, I took a big, deep breath and the media was off my back. Actually, the Denver media really embraced me. Nice. I didn't have to talk to them. I didn't have to go in there because the team was losing. So it was hard for me to celebrate all this that was happening to me because the team was losing.
Right. But they could be like, okay, 6 catches, 100 yards, touchdown, leave him alone.
I'm like, I'm doing my part,
right.
And it was just like, and I was trying to downplay that season as much as I could. And it was, but I couldn't because it would be, there's like the 6th game of the season. One of the media guys was like, you got more yards at this point in the season than you've had all year in the whole season at any point in your career. I was kind of trying to just downplay because I knew I was aware of how good the season was looking for me, but I didn't want to jinx it or talk about it or over promote myself because the team was playing so terribly.
Right.
And so I was trying to downplay it, but I couldn't hide it. And
you couldn't.
And so I was just like unleashing.
And it's to be celebrated because it was a monumentous occasion. Like, come on. Like everybody, let's keep it real. Everybody is not a Pro Bowler. To make a Pro Bowl, if it was that easy, everybody would do it.
Right. Sure would.
Yeah, and all pro. And I think that was
because a lot of people don't realize being a Pro Bowler is one accolade, being an all pro is another.
That's something else.
And that was what was so important to me was it was the industry people were talking.
Yes.
It was the coaches, it was the players, my peers were talking when I got selected to be all pro. Like that was my peers, and that was the validating point. That was like all those years I was playing Tecmo Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl, and Madden, and thinking that was going to be me one day, and wanting that to be me one day. It finally came true, and it was just like, yes, like that was a very humbling moment.
So I wonder, Brandon,
fulfilling. If you're not gonna toot your horn, I will. Fulfilling. Because damn it, with that team you had, for you to do what you did, brother. Come on, man.
Yeah. Salute, brother. I was wondering what teams do you follow now?
I don't.
Oh,
I don't. No, I know. Football gives me anxiety.
Duh.
Really?
And yeah, I think it's just the PTSD.
I was about to say PTSD.
Okay.
Just the noise and the suspense and the tension and it's the commentary, and it's overwhelming. So
well, this will be my last football question, because I would be remiss if I didn't.
Oh no, we can continue to talk football. I was just answering the question. I don't follow it. I think that I've returned to school. I keep myself busy. So when I retired from the NFL, I took 3 years off.
Right, that was no longer your life.
I had to thank B. Lloyd for all that he did for me. Made my dreams come true, but I no longer need him and his ego anymore.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Separation.
I needed to deprogram myself. So
now you're Brandon.
And it was important.
No, he's Mr. B. Lloyd.
Yeah. So it's like, So it's like I no longer need that ego, because the world doesn't bend the way it bent for me as an active player.
Right.
In that white hot space, the world bent in my favor. It's no longer bending for me as a black man in America. It's not going to do that for me. So I need to deprogram myself and how I'm going to interact with the world. And so that's what we're talking about. That's what I was talking about, my service to the community.
Absolutely.
And my commitment to continued education, my commitment to my family, my friends group. Like, these are the things those are my foundations prior to the NFL. And then they're my foundations after the NFL. And so I took 3 years off, re-engaged myself back with my family. I mean, I'm talking about my brothers and sisters and my parents, because I intentionally isolated myself to be in that NFL world.
In that world, yeah.
I intentionally isolated myself. And so I needed to come out of that and repair those relationships. I graduated from the University of Illinois. I walked with the class of 2018. So I went back to school. Thank you.
You said you was going to do it. So
Yep. Walked with the class of 2018, and then continued to engage in my community endeavors and community efforts, and exploring business opportunities. And so I keep myself busy. And so I don't have time to consume a lot of football.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So I'm going
to share a memory with you. This would be the last year of your career, and I'm watching football as I casually do.
For the 49ers.
Because I'm not casually watching football. I'm intensely watching football.
I was just about to say that, JB. You don't casually do nothing.
I don't. And I'm like, damn, Tom Brady just threw a dart to Brandon Lloyd. I didn't know he was still playing.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was 2012.
And you almost had 1,000 yards that year and like 5-6 touchdowns. I'm like, what's going on? So you're playing with the GOAT quarterback.
Yeah.
You're playing with the GOAT coach. And here you are with damn near 1,000 yards.
Right.
And 5-6 touchdowns. And if I'm not mistaken, you had like a key playoff catch in that season. Yeah, There
yeah,
you go.
yeah, we're
You
trying to
put
do
them out.
Baltimore.
Come on
Yeah.
now. Talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, the
Still rocking 85, right?
yeah, still rocking 85. So after that Pro Bowl season, I went on tour. So I went on a whole press tour. I normally have a routine after the season where I go to Sundance Film Festival in Salt Lake City. I'll hit the ESPYs. I'll do some Super Bowl appearances, not in that order, but do Super Bowl appearances. Hit Coachella. I have this whole loop. Hit Summer Jam in New York. I'm on this whole victory lap.
You're around.
Right.
And so I get this, my sports agent says, hey, me and my wife can't go to the Kentucky Derby. My gift to you, congratulations. Here are my tickets to the Kentucky Derby. And the I forget the name of the club. The Turf Club is what it's called.
Okay.
So you've heard of Millionaires Row.
Yes.
Which is the skybox, the grandstand is the top row. Those are the horse owners.
Those were the boozy
big hats and the
people
white suits. Yeah.
with the hats. Yeah, the floppy hats.
Oh no. They're in the turf club too, but Millionaires Row is the billionaire, the people who own the horse, who had sex
right
100 times ago, that's producing the horse that's racing today.
Right.
Like 100 offspring to race this horse. So, right. And then the turf club is the party. That's the exclusive party. So that's where, all the sports athletes are, Aaron Rodgers, you name it, Lindsey Vonn, Tom Brady, and then all the billionaires and millionaires, multimillionaires who've flown in to bet on these races. So it's, mint juleps and shrimp cocktails. I mean, it's just over the top. It's a huge party. Mm-hmm. And so I'm there at that event, and Deion Branch comes up to me.
Okay.
He's like, yo, he's like, B. Lloyd. I was like, oh, Deion Branch, what's up, my man? He's like, we start reminiscing about Louisville. They played Illinois the year of September 11th. Right. And our game got pushed back. And so we start reminiscing on that. And we start, talking about each other's career and congratulating them on their success in the NFL. And he's like, yeah. All bullshit aside, Tom wants to talk to you. So, all right. So they under the paddock, Tom goes to the Kentucky Derby with
every year.
His teammates out, the O-lineman, and Welker and the receivers and whoever wants to be there. And he's out there with his Goldman Sachs buddies. And they have a Beats pill. So, there's like 12 minutes in between each race. So they're playing gangster rap music in between each race out there at the Kentucky Derby in the paddock. And, so the thing about the Kentucky Derby is that, they fly in all these special guests of honor. So everyone in the turf club is a guest of honor.
Okay.
And if you're a guest of honor, how you measure your importance is they bring in security from all the Dixie states. So they bring in sheriffs from the Dixie states to bodyguard the guests of honor.
All them. Okay, right.
Okay.
So
Kentucky, Tennessee.
So these people, they'll fly them in private, and then these sheriffs will bodyguard them the whole weekend. And so they're walking around the turf club with sheriffs, full garb. And you dress your level of importance of how many sheriffs you got bodyguarding you. So, Tom's got 2. There's a tan guy strolling around with his, looking all uncouth with his, tan suit on. And he's got, 6 sheriffs around him. Probably one of the Middle Eastern guys who owns the horses, right? Very important person. So, there's sheriffs at each entrance. I mean, this thing is tight security. sheriff's at the door. Deion's like, hey, Tom wants to see him. They like slide in, go out to the outside. Tom's out there with a seersucker suit on, the Tom Ford John.
Right, the Tom Ford.
Even when he had the long hair flicking, and it was like flicking in the wind. It was just like glowing in the sun. It was just like, whoa, it was like, this dude is amazing. I've been jockeying and positioning myself to play with this man since my time in San Francisco. I would go on the NFL Network to be like, who's the best player in the NFL? Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. And so here I am finally meeting him.
Yeah.
And so Tom, daps me up, gives me a cheek-to-cheek hug. What's up, B. Lloyd? How's your weekend going? I'm like, it's going good. He's like, will you join me? I'm like, sure.
That was easy.
Duh.
Yeah. Well, he proceeds to negotiate me getting out of my contract with Denver and joining the New England Patriots.
He did it?
So he's like, he says, Bill's not going to trade for you, so you need to get out of this contract. And then we'll pick you up as a free agent. So I go,
whoa, he had that kind of fucking power.
Hold on.
God damn.
Flag on the play. Are you telling me Tom Brady has that type of power back then?
Oh my God!
I know what he got now. I'm talking about in 2012. He had that type of power. Well,
I was just say, he was in the know. He knew what was the organization, how it was moving, and what it was about. And he was calling during that 2010 campaign because Josh McDaniels was his coach.
Was right, and he went back. Right.
And he was saying, how are y'all doing this? Like we couldn't even do this with Randy.
Right.
How are you doing this? Doing all these numbers. So Tom was watching from afar what we was doing in Denver. And so we finished the conversation. I said, so is that it? It was all but 3 minutes. I said, all right, I hear you. He goes, that's it? He's like, all right. I was like, can I grab my date and come out here and kick it with y'all? He goes, for sure.
Damn.
And then we just kicked it for the rest of the weekend. I left that trip. I returned to Denver in 2011 season. Josh got fired because he was reporting those teams. And the organization didn't have his back like New England backs up their coaches when they cheat. So Josh got fired. So Josh got fired. He gets picked up by Steve Spagnuolo in St. Louis, right?
Right, I remember that.
So
that didn't go well either.
I'm the only returning Pro Bowl selection from the team. Champ Bailey went. He set the record that year, but he went as an alternate. Right? He went as an alternate.
If memory serves, didn't you go to St. Louis for like a year?
I know. I'm going to tell you about it.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So I'm returning for the team. John Fox takes over, and John Fox does not get along with me for some reason. I don't know what is going on. He's got a bone to pick with me.
Who does he get along with?
I know. and so he's trying to compare me to Steve Smith in our one-on-one meetings because we're saying, all right, I'll sign a new contract. They're saying we're in cap trouble. I say, all right, well, I'm ready to sign a contract as your only returning player. They're like, well, we're starting Tim Tebow. You ain't going to do them numbers here. So you're going to play for less. I said, all right, no, I'm not going to play. I don't want to play with Tim Tebow.
No.
Right. I said, I don't, I led the league in receiving yards with Kyle Orton and Tim Tebow only throwing me passes. And that shit was hard. So I was like, I don't want to do slip screens and block for this dude. I'm a receiver. I want to run routes. And so Elway just took over the organization. And so they're saying Elway doesn't value me as a receiver. And so I'm like, all right, can you just trade me? And John Fox is like, dude, we're not trading you, dude. You're sitting on the bench here.
What?
So I'm like, all right. I didn't do a receiver breakdown. I didn't do a end of practice. We finished practice, and then I just walked off the field. They hit me with the conduct detrimental. And so they hit me with a game check. And so my agent appeals it. It's like, yo, this is bullshit. And so the agreement is you don't take the appeal and we do the trade. So no appeal. I didn't get the money back.
No, but you still lost the money,
but I go into a trade. And so the St. Louis Rams were like the third worst team. So there's like 2 teams ahead of them. So how the free agency works is when a player goes onto the free agency market, then the worst teams get the bid first. Right. They get
waivers.
They get waivers. And so I had a super agent. I had Dave Dunn. So he represented players on those 2 teams. And so that was the deal. You go after him, I'll make your life hell.
Right.
I got your left tackle. You go after him, I'll make your life hell come contract. So those teams got out the way, and then came St. Louis. And so I went straight to St. Louis, back with Josh McDaniels.
Innovated, right, okay.
And then lit it up. It was like I got to do 11 games there. And it was like 711 yards. Yeah. It was awesome, which was fun. It was like being in Chicago. It's like being like a second home, being from Missouri and traveling all through Missouri and amateur athletics. Mm-hmm. My friends were calling me like, yo, St. Louis is a shithole. Like, what's it like out there? I'm like, dude, I'm Jeter out here.
Right.
What? Jeter.
The man.
Hey, speaking of, so I finished out that last year of the contract from Denver, became a free agent, right to New England.
Right, 2012, right?
Yep. So the New England was, I just went there to play with Josh, and I went there to play with Tom. I thought Bill was great and all, as far as a coach, and I thought he fell short on his defense and his special teams. They weren't that good. I wasn't a big fan of his recruiting method of bringing in, all those, untalented, undrafted, troublesome players and trying to threaten them with their and football to make something out of their lives and do what he tells them to do. I wasn't a fan of that. Right. And the players were incredibly unhappy for being on such a winning organization. I mean, those suckers were miserable.
They got a lot of turnaround too, though.
Oh man, those suckers were miserable.
A lot of turnover.
And but yeah, I consider myself to be. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go here, be available for Tom and skate right to a Super Bowl. Right. At least in the playoffs. I never played in the playoffs. I never played in the playoffs until that year. That was my year in the NFL. I never played in a playoff game. And so I was like, I just wanted to be on that stage and put my talent on that stage. And so it was amazing, playing with Tom and just how nice he was off the field. And then he just hit the switch in practice, and it was just 100 miles an hour. The work ethic, the discipline, with the health and the film watching, he'd say things to me like, 7 years ago, this defensive coordinator ran this particular coverage against me in this particular situation in the red zone. Right.
He remembered it.
I mean, it was like beautiful mind stuff.
So you had this deep respect for Tom back then. What seeing him still playing? Well, I mean, I know you still have respect for him, but seeing him still playing, how old is he? Like 83?
You stupid, Cole.
He's like 45. He's still playing. What do you think about that? You think he needs to sit his old ass down, or no? Just keep going.
I thought him leaving when he left was like riding off in the sunset was it was a good idea. I thought it was a good idea for him to do that. But, it's, this is the unfortunate thing about the greats, he's going to go out like Montana. Is he going to go out like Ali? Is he going to go out like Jordan?
That's what I was about to say, like Michael Jordan.
It's kind of like, it's sad to see that. But at the same time, for me, I've been around a couple players that were playing for different reasons. They're not playing for the same reasons I was playing for. The money, the power, the respect, the fame, some players, most of us are playing for that. And there's just like that 1% that are playing to shatter history.
Mm-hmm.
It's rarefied air. They're not playing for the same reasons, and it's a different ball game. Steven Jackson was that way when I was in St. Louis.
The running back, yes,
playing for the same reasons. It's just he's out there for the Hall of Fame is in his scope. All the moves he's making on the field, off the field, is for the Hall of Fame, and it's just like rarefied air to be around. Tom was the same way. He wasn't playing to win the game. He was playing to shatter every single one of his childhood heroes' records. Joe Montana.
Legacy, yeah.
He's playing for different reasons. And so I understand that as a player. And so that's what I like to relay to people outside the game is it's not the same.
Wow.
So for me, it's just like I just because I care as a friend, I don't want anything bad to happen to him.
Absolutely.
Because it's inevitable, right? Yeah. It's inevitable. And that's what the things that were coming out that his wife was saying. Every time I drop back, her she's holding her breath. Damn right.
Yeah.
Because it's inevitable. So, more power to him, and I respect it. But he's not playing for the same reasons everyone else is out there playing for.
So before we let you go, earlier in the conversation, you were talking about how you started a rap career.
Yeah.
You had a rap career in 2008.
Yeah.
And just a little story here. The other day when I told one of my guys that, Brandon Lloyd, he's going to be on the podcast. He said, oh, he got bars. And I said, and I'm just being honest, I said, Brandon Lloyd ain't got no bars, man. What you talking about? And he was like, yeah, man, he got bars. Look it up. But she
all mine?
Yeah, she all mine. Look
Yeah.
it up. I looked it up. I listened, and I was like, okay. Is that Bobby Valentino? Who the fuck is that? And I was like, all right, I bet. Okay. He had a few bars. He wasn't Wu-Tang or nothing, but he had
No, you can't say Wu-Tang. That's terrible.
That's kind of apples and oranges a little bit. But
No, but I get it.
I was like, yeah, okay. He got bars. He kind of on that smooth hip hop tip. So
Bullets already knew it.
I took the liberty to upload it so we can check it out. I hope we don't get dinged for it. We're only gonna listen to a few bars.
Cool.
And I want the people to listen. So let me find it. We gonna put it up here. Brandon, I hope we're not putting you on the spot or nothing.
Not at all. I love this record.
No, he did it. Like, I want to hear the greatness.
Well, I think we gonna ask for a few bars after this. We gonna ask you for a few bars.
He said that's on the spot.
So without any further ado, let me go ahead and pull it.
I've been there, done that. Fame came fast, you understand that. Them other girls don't mean jack, just a feather in my hat, notch on a nigga belt. Them other bitches ain't got my back, they don't love me, not like you. When they hug me, it don't feel quite like you, so I'ma do what I'm supposed to do.
Why you cut it off? I was good.
I was feeling that. Well, because I thought we would get dinged if we played for too long. But
Yeah,
I was feeling that when I was playing it. I was like, okay,
for sure.
he got
Yeah.
bars.
Yeah, you know, I'm from an era where if you can't rap, you know, like you're lame.
Oh,
like, that's like, you know, in Kansas City, I that's how I expressed myself was rap. Like from the first time I heard "Parents Just Don't Understand" from Will Smith, I was like, wow, like the storytelling. I was like, that was an amazing story. Like it in the Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, it just walked me through the story. I was like, ooh, I was like, I want to be able to tell my story over instrumentation in rhyme. That's talent.
That's
dope. Yeah.
That's
and so I said, and so I was kind of like, you know, I'll use music as my medium to reach people, because that's how Deion Sanders reached me, was through the Must Be the Money album. And I was saying,
I was hype about that.
I had the whole cassette. I had the whole album. I listened to all the records.
Wait, him and Hammer? Remember him and Hammer, the concert?
All that. I'm telling you. And so I was like, I can be an athlete. I can make music. I was like, dude, nothing's gonna stop me from doing this. So when I got to Illinois, I started writing raps in high school.
Okay.
I would buy the little, 99-cent singles so I can get the instrumental.
Right.
And then I use a karaoke machine, and then I just recorded on the other end the whole way through. And so I have my own songs on a cassette, and I listen to them on the school bus on the way to school in my Walkman. So
my cousin KB used to do the same thing. We had the A tape recorder and the B tape recorder. He put the little thing in the side and dub it over the same thing. Yep.
Exactly. So I got to college, and then that was when Napster was popping. So I had access to all kind of instrumentals. I had all kind of instrumentals. So I was doing whole albums in college. Cass was rapping with me. We had a rap group, everything. We was rapping. Guys was playing our mixtapes in the cars.
Wow.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
Hey.
And so when I got to the NFL and I had money for studio time, I was like, all right,
You gonna do it for real?
Yeah, I was like, I can do it for real. And this was in 2003, so Cass didn't have websites. So I was like, I want to have my website, and then I want an MP3 player playing my own music.
There you go. Yep.
And so
that's what Napster was.
Well, and so I once I got to the league, then I was able to start recording my own music, and so that's how that started off.
Wait a minute, you were ahead of the game, because isn't Kanye doing the same thing right now?
Well, I didn't have a whole player. I just had it playing through the browser.
But the idea to play his own music, just his music.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised that NFL players haven't done it since. I'm surprised there hasn't been a player to come out with music.
Well, maybe there hasn't been anyone as talented as you.
Well, NBA players have.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Lillard.
Lillard, Chris Webber, Jason Kidd,
right.
Kobe.
Yeah, NFL guys.
Oh, well, Jason Kidd was terrible.
Well, Shaq.
Kobe, Shaq. Yeah, Shaq was an influence of mine. Shaq.
Right.
AI attempted it. And so this was all in my peer group. And so in 2003, and so what I was saying was like, these dudes getting horrible bad rap, and this was an era in professional sports where you bet not get caught doing anything outside of sports.
Right.
That means you ain't focused, and that's
focused,
the reason why you ain't playing good, and that's the reason why
Masterpiece. Stay away from Cash Money. Yep.
So is that the reason why the music career just vanished?
Well, it didn't. So what I did was I moved to licensing and syncing. So I said to myself, if I'm going to continue to express myself this way, because this is me, I am a musician, and this is how I want to express myself, and I'm not going to stop. So instead of competing with Lil Wayne, I'll go into licensing and syncing. So I start licensing my music to video games, television shows, movies, and so that's what I get royalties on now. And that project in 2008 was me. I finally in 2007 when I was with the Washington football team. I recorded a whole project. So in the off seasons, I'd start recording, and then I just spend 2 months, 3 months in studio recording, and then I put the project away and go and play football.
Gotcha.
So I got a really good producer, Amir Perry, Gigolo. He just came off of doing a couple tracks off the Massacre, 50 Cent. He came off a couple tracks with Young Buck. So he was in the G Unit, right? In the G Unit producer camp. So he was down in Arizona where I was training. My engineer introduced us at a G Unit writing camp. So he brought me to this G Unit writing camp where they were selecting local producers. I met this cat. I was like, all right, let's do some tracks. He was like, you athlete rap, that's BS. You know, he's like, he flipped me a track. He's like, see what you could do with this. And I lit it up.
You rocked it, yeah.
Oh yeah, I lit it up. And so he was like, all right, well, I'll produce your project. And so we came in, and so we did 12 tracks together. She All Mine's one of them. And so that was the best music project that I put together, was the tracks off that. That's called Master of Ceremony. That project where She All Mine is. And we released it to radio, and it worked. You know, I know the combination was, you know, I would do radio tracks, tracks strictly for radio, tracks that sounded like the hot music at the time. So I had a few Dr. Dre joints on there. I had some joints. I had a joint that sound like it's called California, that got picked up by television. I had a joint Heavy because I think rock rap is another mix that I like, because I do listen to multiple genres. So I like to mix and rap because I like the juxtaposition.
That's in the movie, ain't it? Or
yeah, Heavy. Yeah, it was in the football parody TV show.
Yeah, on Spike.
Yes, it's on Comedy Central, and I'm spacing the name of it. Doggone it. But
you're not talking about All American.
No, the one with I'm spacing. I'll remember it later. I can remember it. Maybe you can Google it. Google Heavy. Comedy Central, B. Lloyd. But I could take the hip hop components out of it and have a rock song. So we did all live instrumentation. I just love being in the studio with the artists. We put live guitar, live bass. We sampled live drums for the project, and then we had the 808. So you could take the guitars, the electric guitar out, and you have a hip hop song. Take the 808s out, and you have a rock.
Like what Ice-T did with the rock back in the day.
And that's what I think is so
damn, JB. God damn. He's the sales trap. He remembers everything in the world. Oh my God. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's Blue Mountain State. I just looked it up. It's on the TV show Blue Mountain.
Was Blue Mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was actually kind of dope, like a little high school football thing. Yeah.
Well, it's college, and they lampooned all the debauchery that goes on in Division I sports, the cheating and the scandals and the partying and the illegal money, and it ended up becoming the quarterback's theme song. And so I remember because I sold that song to I think it was Comedy Central, and my music manager calls me and says, he's like, B, it was during the middle of the season. He was like, B, I hate to disturb you, but the producers from Blue Mountain State want to talk to you. They don't believe that it's you they're buying the song from. I was like, yeah. I was like, have them call me. So they called me on three-way. It's like, is this really Brandon Lloyd, the football player? Yeah. And so, so I love moving into licensing seeking because I could just make competitive music, music that sounded like other music for a fraction of the cost. And
but look what you just did.
Fulfilling the dream of seeing my music on video games, on television, on movies.
Multiple
that
genres.
Was another part of me that I wanted to fulfill.
Right.
So that's crazy.
It seems like life was playing checkers with you, but you was playing chess. So,
absolutely.
So when life said, "Oh, you can't do this and you doing that," you said, "All right, bet. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that." So it's kind of like how you went to licensing and syncing, because when you're in the limelight and you rapping, oh, well, you taking away from your career. You ain't shit. You focus on something else. You say, okay, bet. This is how I express myself, but I'm gonna go this way and do that.
This is my therapy. This is my release.
Right. So I mean, I
Freudian.
salute you for that. That's
real
dope.
talk.
Thank you.
That is real.
Yeah,
dope.
there's things that I would hear in music when I do music. The people in music be like, dude, you got money. Why are you doing music?
Why not? Because I want to.
I know. So it was just tough as an athlete to try to navigate that. The other thing I would hear from the executives is, can you go on tour?
Oh,
and it was like, I was like, no, you want to ride in a van? Can you ride in a van for 6 months and go on tour? It's kind of like, no. So I had to get in order for me to express myself musically, I had to find another way. And so it was licensing and syncing was the way that I can just create mailbox money.
Right.
Man, that is so dope. You know what, B. Lloyd? We need to have you back.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Continue this, because man, I mean, you have told us some stories. You have opened our eyes to a lot of things that go on.
It gave us great insight, brother. Great insight.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes, man. Wow, I am taken away.
Yeah, and we need your program here in Chicago, bro.
I know, right? I know.
I said CPS. You talking to? I'm a dean at a CPS school. I need you, brother. I need you.
Yeah, all we need is businesses. We have a one-to-one program where we operate regionally. Mm-hmm. We were in conversations with Mayor Lightfoot pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic, okay.
So, the engine that runs career-wise is the businesses, and we get a handful of businesses there that want to bring on 15, 20 apprentices. Mm-hmm. We'll come into your school and we can run this program. And
I actually think here that's easier said than done. It's just getting minds together.
Yeah. It's easier said than done. And that's what, that's why this isn't, taking off like gangbusters right now. I mean, this is like, especially right now when we talk about the workforce, if we talk about the adult population being unmotivated and don't want to get in the workforce, well, why not offer these opportunities to a different group of people? I mean, they're counted into GDP. 16, 17-year-olds, you might as well train them and put them into the workforce, especially with the descent from wanting to get into college debt. Like they should be able to get right into the workforce, and that's what programs, this workforce development, has just been such a passion of mine since getting into it, because I'm seeing the results. You think about Switzerland; they have 180 occupations that are apprenticeable. 40% of the companies participate in apprenticeship, and there's 3.2% unemployment rate amongst the team. I know. So it's like
they think Swiss is just about banks. They're wrong.
I see.
The chairman of UBS started off as an apprentice. I mean, 180 apprenticeable jobs. This isn't just woodwork and
that's the big guy of all the Swiss bank accounts. Yes.
Started off as an apprentice, right?
Wow.
So, apprenticeship's no longer seen as a role for the underachievers. This should be a secondary route. If you don't want to go to college, you're not an underachiever. You can go straight to work and you can make more money. Apprenticeship's been proven. I mean, they make the median wages to $70,000 for apprenticeship, and that's just talking about skills trades. We haven't even started factoring in finance and healthcare and education and IT and all the these new high wage white collar roles. So it's I would love to be able to bring it to Chicago.
Definitely, brother. Definitely.
Well, hey, B. Lloyd, we appreciate you even taking the time to tell us these stories tonight, man. We got to have you back.
Yes, please.
There's so much more we want to ask you, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we will definitely be in touch with you, bro. And we appreciate you. And I am going to put She's All Mine on my playlist in my car. I swear.
Yes.
They had me. Is this Bobby Valentino?
No. Well, you can go on my SoundCloud. It's B-Lloyd-1.
B-Lloyd
on SoundCloud.
Y'all got
so I got
that,
some more track.
everybody.
I got the California track on there. So that one rides. That one rides in the car.
Yeah.
That Cali joint.
I'm definitely bumping that. Everybody in the chat, check that out, man. I'm not playing.
They don't bump that on my way to work in the morning.
I'm about to go play it as soon as we get off. I'm not playing.
I
gotta go cook some dinner. I'm ready.
So when is the next time you gonna be in Chicago, man? Because we gonna get up with you. We gonna take you to the South Side. We gonna baptize you.
Well, no, it's not the next time I'm gonna be there. It's whenever you invite me. If there's something going on, you say, "Hey, B, I want you to come out to this." I'll be there. So
easy.
I would greatly appreciate it.
Summertime shy coming up, baby.
There's
nothing like summertime shy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You about to be in the thick of it. You about to be in the thick of it, man.
Can't wait.
But yeah, we appreciate you, B.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you,
man.
Appreciate you, family.
Thank you. And we'll holler at you soon.
Okay.
Yes,
all right. Take care, man.
Man, that was great. That was great insight,
Lloyd.
man.
Amazing.
That was great insight. I love that.
Amazing dude, man.
Yeah. And it was like no punches pulled.
None.
Man.
None.
No cookie cutter. Real dope. To like his measured responses. Like, this is what we really want in our interviews, right? Anybody can go on TV and say, "Oh, blah blah blah, great. No, I want to hear the real.
Right.
We certainly got
He gave us the real.
Got that.
We certainly got.
Yes,
hey,
he got a little Dennis McKinnon in him.
Huh? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
And look, we love Dennis around here. Like,
hey, y'all, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I gotta go to back.
Let's get to these shout outs.
Wait, can we get a commercial?
I don't have it. I don't have it.
You ain't got it. Let's get to some shout outs. You go ahead and do what you got to do, JB. You can go ahead and kick us off with these shout outs, baby.
I bet. I'll be back.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. He ain't coming now.
Nah,
if it was a horror movie, he wouldn't be coming back, right?
Right.
So, okay.
Exactly. His ass would be gone. I'll be right back.
No, but again, Chicago Clubhouse Podcast Network. Like, oh my God, the chat again, off the chain. Everybody from my man Bullets to my man Frank Marshall to my man Cool Kennedy, who's also in the rap game, super producer, got mad love on the tracks, mad beats. Man, we was on fire tonight. Man, shout out to my man AB who couldn't be with us tonight. Had something going on. Always love. Shout out to our brother. We miss you. Shout out to B. Lloyd, man. One of the better, more in-depth interviews that we've had. Like, when I tell you that brother got it.
Yes, sir.
Man,
yes,
he got it. Man, but shout out to some friends of mine that checked in. Shout out to SB, of course, always. Shout out to moms. My allergies is tweaking. My mom was not feeling well, but she still chimed in. So shout out to moms.
Dukes.
Dukes always. Shout out to one of my friends from New York, Ruby Lena. She checking in on the podcast. So now we state to state. We getting that East Coast love, that flavor, right? And then there you go, state to state. And shout out to you, C, because you my brother from another. I've known you a long time. It's always good chopping up with you, my brother.
You already know it.
When we have days like this, man, sky's the limit. Future is real.
Yes, sir. Man, let me go ahead and get in my shout outs. Shout out to you two brothers, T Nick, JB. You know what I'm saying? Brothers from another mother. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. Cool Kennedy, Frank, Scott Hopkins. Who else am I missing?
Kasim Baker checked in. KB.
Who?
I said Kasim Baker checked in earlier.
Yes.
KB.
Yes, Kasim Baker. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, bullets.
Oh,
right. Thank you all for coming in, leaving your comments, checking us out.
Hey, Cool Kennedy, yes. Man, speak on it, brother. Yes.
Oh, yeah. My man B. Lloyd. Oh, man. See what we were talking about earlier, JB? He just sit up there and like Cool Kennedy or somebody said earlier, he basically told us a story. That could be something that's possibly going on. You never know with other wide receiver with St. Brown or Pringle or anybody.
Right.
He let us in. He gave us information that we know the media ain't gonna give us. We damn sure know the organization ain't gonna give us.
For sure.
Sure. So I mean, like we get insight on the past. We get insight on how GMs really think of players. And it's kind of sad too. We also hear. I gotta tip my hat out. I know some people don't like him. Lovie Smith is a stand-up dude. I have to really sit up there and tip my hat to him because you don't never hear anything bad about Lovie Smith. You hear about, like, we hear the cool, calm demeanor, but then when you listen to people sit up there and they talk about him, Lovie will get in your ass, but he ain't gonna get in your ass in a loud, vulgar type of way. He gonna do it real calm and cool.
Right.
And that shit is fucking rare. So, yeah, shout out to my man B. Lloyd with the whole organization that he got going on, which I think is great. I think we need that here somehow, some way. I hope the mayor hears about that and tries to put her best foot forward to get that out here to Chicago. Shout out to JB's mom. Shout out to my mom that was watching, even though I got to set her up with her own profile on YouTube so she can be able to comment because she texts me. Shout out to any of our friends and family that were out here watching today. Also, please remember, like and subscribe. Chicago Clubhouse Podcast. Please do it. We love your opinions. Come back. We do this. We got something going on almost every day on the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. I guess Friday. I don't know.
Wednesday. Yeah.
Wednesday. Yes, with my ladies. My ladies.
Tia talk about
what you said, damn it. Yeah. And shout out to the kiddies. They ass should be asleep. I know they ass ain't. They probably up on their damn phones, but the minute I get off of here, I'm kicking some ass and I'm grabbing some phones. And that's it for me. See, Nick?
It's on me. Okay. Last but not least. So I definitely want to shout out our guest for today. An amazing dude. I'm not gonna reiterate everything that JB and Foulmouth already said, but wow. He definitely opened our eyes and gave us a lot of nuggets. He dropped a lot of nuggets that we definitely appreciate, and we will keep in the back of our head. Okay, yeah, that's why they doing this, because B. Lloyd said this. He said they were going to do that. So, yeah, he dropped a lot of nuggets, man. So we definitely appreciate him. And we are going to have him back. And we're going to talk some more football. And we're going to talk some more about his music. So big shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Cool Kennedy, Big Frank, the Tank. He's gonna be our new Blackhawks guy. But Big Frank, big shout out to him. Shout out to Moms. Definitely shout out to you, JB Mom. I guess she didn't adopt me. She adopted JB and AB.
So she love you too, T. Don't do that.
Yeah, I know. She loved me too. I know.
Glad to see you back.
I'm just not a son. But yeah, shout out to all the names that I forgot that were in the chat. I appreciate all of y'all. I know I saw some new names. Appreciate y'all for even watching, man. And those who were not in the chat, we appreciate y'all too. But y'all are officially lurkers. But lurkers is not necessarily a negative term. That means you just don't want to say shit. That's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to say shit. But we appreciate y'all watching anyway and listening to our nonsense. But our guest brought no nonsense. He kept it real with us 1,000%. So, you know, we appreciate that. We appreciate y'all, man. So my mom was not watching, so I can't say shout out to my mom. She was not watching. She's in Mexico chilling.
Oh hell no! Mom don't need to watch.
That's where we need to be.
She never watched, but she never watched. Even when she at the crib, she don't watch. She ain't never go watch. But shout out to your mama anyway. Maybe somebody will tell you, your son shouted you out on the podcast.
Man, we need to do a podcast from Mexico.
We had a name
that's
that
coming
I have
up.
never seen before.
As soon as you pay for it.
Hell, the way my passport set up, my ass is statewide.
Really?
Yeah, with all these COVID restrictions, that ain't
we can't go to Mexico. We can't go to Jamaica. Really, fellas? We'll talk. But we had a young lady that chimed in, Nicole Johnson.
Oh, yes.
I want to give her a shout out. Absolutely.
Yes.
Nicole.
Definitely shout out to Nicole.
Nicola.
Definitely shout out to Nicole. And I want to give a special shout out to my guy, AB. Gotta shout him out, man. He's not here tonight for whatever reason he's not here, but I gotta shout him out. That's my boy. We don't really have a show if it weren't for AB. I just want to point that out and make that clear. We do not have a show if it's not for him, so I want to shout him out specifically. Shout out to Moore's Beer.
Moore's.
Definitely shout out to Moore's Beer. I got the porter tonight.
Tilly's.
But they have 3 different ones. They got the Session Ale, they have the IPA, and the porter. So shout out to Moore's. Shout out to Tilly's, as Chris said. They have a Taco Tuesday tonight. I ain't gonna make that shit. As always, I never make that shit, man. Because Tuesday night,
on location, one day.
Yeah, on location one day, but their Wi-Fi is shitty right now. So when they
we'll figure it out.
When they fix their Wi-Fi, we'll be out there, man. But Tilly's is a good time. If you all have the time, get out to Tilly's. It's 1655 Ring Road in Calumet City. Man, they have some really good food.
They do.
Good drinks.
They do.
And make sure you tell them that the Clubhouse podcast sent you. You'll get a discount. Ask for sir.
Oh, I want to give out one more shout out to my girl. I know she back there in the bed chilling. I got a damn show give out a shout out because I've been on here all night and I do not want to sleep on the fucking couch. My back hurts. So I want to make sure I'm sleeping in a nice, comfortable bed. So shout out to her. Because I do not want to sleep on the fucking couch tonight.
Also, I want to point out one of the clowns that we do have watching. He said AB is trash. Dude, you're a clown. And you don't have to watch the podcast.
Who is Chad
It's okay.
Lachey? I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either. But man, if you don't have nothing nice to say, you don't have to say nothing. But man, you don't have to watch the podcast. It's okay. It's okay. But anyway, so aside from that, Chad, get it together, dog. Get it together, man. AB is a great dude. But yeah, so I think we're done here.
Yeah,
so at this point, I think we have nothing left to say except for my man, Stat Man, JB, and for my man, Found Mousy. We are done. We're finished.
Yeah.
We don't have anything else to say. So we out. And I'm trying to find the clip.
Oh shit.
We out, but I don't see it. So I guess I'll just say it myself. We out. Bye-bye.
Peace.